Metatron, this is the Clarion Call, the power of your Merkaba. By Anna Merkaba. June 24, 2016. Website: sacredascensionmerkaba.com. Produced by Higher Self.
Greetings everyone. I hope all of you are doing exceptionally well, and that you all have had phenomenal experiences during and following June 21st. What I would like to share with you today is an incredible experience with someone who, unbeknownst to him, has played a very special role in my awakening process. This incident is a rather funny one, which showcased to me in all its beauty exactly how divine right timing and synchronicity work, how connected we all are, and how we truly are walking each other home. I am sure that some of you have heard my story of how in the beginning of my awakening journey, my Merkaba suddenly opened. But if not, I would like to briefly touch on it now, as it has everything to do with this amazing encounter that has happened to me right after the portal of June 21st. Back in 2012, when I just started on my awakening journey, when I started hearing the voices of my guides and seeing various beings visiting me, I was guided to go on a trip that would completely change my life, bring me into full alignment with my soul purpose, and allow me to see the truth of that which I am. This experience happened a few days before the Hurricane Sandy hit New York City. I was out of state, but my family was there. I was sitting at my computer and working, when all of a sudden I felt a jolt to get up and go outside. I wasn't sure why, but felt an urge to sit into a lotus pose and begin to meditate. I closed my eyes and all of a sudden saw a six-pointed star appear before me. It started to spin rapidly before me in a horizontal-like fashion. Entering my heart chakra, it began to spin even faster. I could feel my heart begin to expand, and an odd sensation of overall expansion began to fill my whole body. I felt that I was expanding beyond my physical body. It was an odd sensation, but what fascinated me the most was what the six-pointed star proceeded to do. Once inside my heart, it changed its position from horizontal to vertical, with one end pointing up and the other pointing down. There suddenly it split into two equal triangles that now turned into pyramids, with one pyramid moving up whilst rotating in one direction, and another moving down whilst rotating in another direction through my whole body, exiting it and encompassing me fully. I was truly confused, but incredibly elated. I had no idea what was happening, but felt confident that I should embrace this experience. I was completely calm, and mesmerized by what I was seeing. I was excited that my beautiful six-pointed star came to life. I did not know what it was, or what was happening. I had no idea that it had anything to do with a Merkaba, because I have as of yet not heard of that name, nor did I know anything about Archangel Metatron. I knew nothing about this, not even that it was a representation of a heart chakra. At that time, I had only just begun to recover my physical body from a myriad of issues that it was plagued with. All I knew is that something big was happening and I needed to be a part of it. I then felt and saw a bright white light that was pouring into my crown chakra, and at the same time, from my root chakra another white light was coming up through me. Right in the center of my spine, and up the spine to my shoulders, and spreading through my arms, down to my palms, and out of my palms, two beams of light shot out, one from my left palm and another from my right palm. These lights started to merge and intertwine together in a form of a DNA, becoming stronger by the second. It almost felt like I was generating massive amounts of energy, whilst at the same time, receiving it from some unknown source. Finally, I felt ready, and all of a sudden, this spinning DNA shot out into the sky, and I found myself clearly seeing the houses of my friends and family back in New York. I felt as if I was nearly floating, as if I was looking at everything from somewhere above. I felt a nudge to encapsulate their houses and their cars into some sort of energy bubbles. None of this was making much conscious sense to me then, but deep down inside, I knew exactly what I was doing. I kept going from place to place making sure that everything was protected. I tried to do the same for the whole of New York, only to hear that on my own, I wasn't strong enough, but that there were many such as me working on easing the blow, but that it had to happen, and I shouldn't worry, because although there will be damage, it will not be as bad as everyone was anticipating it to be. I surrounded all the people I could think of and their belongings with this beautiful light. The only thing I forgot was my dad's car. And then just as suddenly, I was jolted back into reality completely exhausted, wondering what it was that I had just experienced. A few hours later, the hurricane hit New York. There was a lot of destruction. Houses next to the ones that I've managed to cover were damaged, but all the places that were encapsulated into these energy bubbles were fine. Except for the roof on my brother's house, it was ruffled up a bit, and my dad's car. All the windows were destroyed and it was in pretty bad shape. I simply couldn't believe it. The only thing on my list that I've totally forgotten about got completely destroyed. I was shocked. What was it that I did? And how did it work? I continued to search for answers, and then a few weeks later, I was led to an amazing book by Archangel Metatron. The name of it was Metatron, This is the Clarion Call. This book held the answers that I was looking for. It opened my eyes. I practiced diligently, devouring each page, absorbing all of the information that it carried, and finally I achieved the opening and activation of my Merkaba again. It was amazing. Magnificent. Beautiful. The book, Metatron, This is the Clarion Call, by R. Mackenzie, has not only explained to me in detail what a Merkaba is, how to open it, but helped me to see the bigger picture, allowing me to connect to myself. Guiding me and giving me step-by-step instructions on how to achieve what I have experienced again. It was an eye-opening book, a book that helped me to connect, and from that connection everything flowed, beautifully, brilliantly. Whilst reading this book, I found myself in awe of this R. Mackenzie. What power did he hold to be able to channel this life-changing information? How did he do that? I was enthralled, fascinated, fully and completely in awe of this magnificent being in human form. Surely, I thought, Metatron himself has come down from the heavens above, into the body of Mr. Mackenzie, in order to bring through this magnificent information. I did not know how it happened, but I too wanted to experience it. I wanted to know the how. I proceeded to practice everything in that book. It was a process that lasted a few weeks, and then, not only was I able to open my Merkaba at will, but I connected to the information that I so longed to receive. Information that all along has been stored deep within me. The information started flowing through me with vigor and might, like a vigorous river crashing against the stones of my then belief systems, changing the landscape of everything that I thought I knew about who I was, and what this reality here on earth truly is. Everything began to change swiftly, rapidly, tremendously. I was eternally grateful for the one called R. Mackenzie, who put himself through rigorous training by Archangel Metatron, which later I would experience firsthand, and allowed to become a vehicle through which pure, undiluted information from the Akash could flow. Then just as suddenly as this book had arrived, it disappeared from my computer, which I took as a sign that I have received all that I needed from it, and it was time to move on. I began to channel for all who asked, tapped into my healing abilities and moved on in my journey, assisting others, who just like me, were awakening to that which they are. I would always hold this book in high regard, and from time to time, would suggest it to a select few, but every time I really wanted to talk about this book, I was told not to. I was told that only a select few could read it at that time. Finally putting the memory of this book on a shelf in my mind, I moved on with my life. And then, came the 21st of June, 2016. A very important gateway, the third wave that all of you have heard about, I am sure. As I'm writing this here now, it is the 23rd of June on 2016, and it is today that my beloved Archangel Metatron and his crew have brought something into my awareness that I simply did not see before. A few months back, someone connected with me on Facebook, talking about the Clarion Call. I thought how awesome it is that someone is talking to me about that book, and that I absolutely love it. I replied to this person and said, how I love the book, and moved on with my day. It was only today, the 23rd of June, that I received another message from this person, someone by the name of Robbie Mackenzie, who said something about loving my channelings. I was about to reply and thank them for listening, when all of a sudden I felt as if I was hit by a lightning bolt. All of a sudden, a realization came over me, that this Robbie Mackenzie, could possibly be one and the same as R. Mackenzie. The one whom I was in awe of, the one whose book changed my life. I was flabbergasted. I was in total awe, of how divine right timing works. I couldn't believe my very eyes. No. It couldn't be happening, could it really be? That after all these years I was actually communicating with R. Mackenzie himself. Indeed it was so. I connected with my guides to ask the question that popped into my mind, why now, what was it that we had to do together, that we would be connected right now? And the answer came. They are ready, they are finally ready for his book. After the third wave has arrived, and many have awakened, many are seeking the answers of who, what, where, why, how. And it is now, that many are ready for this book. I realize again, how amazingly connected we all are, how each one of us is contributing to this incredible experience on this planet, the ascension process, how we truly are walking each other home. Which goes to show that we are all part of this beautiful tapestry of life, each of us incredibly important to the bigger picture, each of us bringing through information and assisting each other in making it happen. We are all connected, and I absolutely love these moments of synchronicity, these magical moments, where that which has been right before our very eyes, which we have not seen prior, all of a sudden becomes visible. And so, without further ado, I would like to share a message with you by Robbie Mackenzie. I highly, deeply, and profoundly recommend those of you who have resonated with this message to get yourself a copy of Metatron. This is the Clarion Call, because I know that you are ready for this life-changing, immensely powerful, and demanding book. Remember, this book will send you on a joyride of your life, fully changing the landscape of what you thought was your reality. I applaud those of you brave enough to take this journey into the ignition of your very own Merkabas. I applaud you, and am grateful to you for taking this step. For your light, your beautiful powerful light, is so very needed by this world. And once your Merkaba begins to spin, and you walk into your power fully and completely, you will assist others to do the same, coming into full awareness of the beautiful tapestry of life. Let us then continue walking each other home to our very own selves. I love you all so much, and thank you from the bottom of all my hearts for being here at this very moment in time. Now, having said this, here is the article that I have received from Robbie Mackenzie. I am Robbie Mackenzie, a trance medium, healer, and intuit. I developed in a meditation circle 13 years ago, and very quickly, I was standing on my feet being overshadowed by beautiful loving beings, who spoke through me while I was in a deep trance state. The words were very loving and healing, and I always felt like I was getting a big comfortable hug from beyond. Soon, I was asked to channel in front of groups at church services, and the messages were always very well received. At this time, I was led to have a channeling by an experienced medium in Scotland. She said that I would be asked to bring through 2 books by Archangel Metatron, that would greatly help the world and the coming ascension that the heavenly hierarchy were helping to facilitate. This was in 2003. Over the next few years, I sporadically channeled Archangel Metatron, and the energy was so intense, that I often had to go for a jog afterwards. He explained more about the role I was to play, and that I had to begin fasting so that I could hold the full quotient possible for a human to hold of his energy, because these books were so important to mankind. He was like my own personal trainer, and the more I gave into the divine bliss, the more he would ask of me. Finally, in 2010, he asked me to do an extra long fast and that we would be channeling the first of the books. On day 20, we started, and the bliss that came through was so powerful at times, I felt like I was flying, whizzing through the different dimensions, and for several weeks, every day, I would channel and transcribe the messages. Channeling this book took me on a beautiful journey, and if you embrace it, it will do the same for you. It's hard to put into words what it's like when you open your Merkaba, but life-changing is definitely one of them. If you approach this book with humility, it will take you on a roller coaster ride of your consciousness. It will make your life more interesting and your relationships better. Your romantic life will be much more relevant and loving, and your sexual relationships much more fulfilling and exciting. It will transform your finances in a positive way and teach you how to manifest all the abundance you could ever want, and give you the tools to be the best that you can possibly be in all areas, and approach life with passion, joy, laughter, and fun. This is the Clarion Call for all light workers. You can find this book on Amazon. Robbie Mackenzie.
If you are interested, I put a link to the interview of Robbie Mackenzie and also a link to his book in the description box below.